Are you ready to get to know a serial agency owner who basically has built 2 different agencies back to back and still has the passion for AI and delegation? This is the Scale You podcast, where every single week we are bringing in an expert in the field, in their business, and diving into how they get started to where they're at now and the things that they're looking forward to in the future within their business and their industry. I am your host, Lacaba, co-founder of 2XU. And if you're ready to ditch the grind, let's go over and scale you. Now, our guest today is the founder of both Stampede Branding and TeamBuilders.agency. One is a branding agency, one is a virtual assistant agency, and he has consulted and trained more than 10,000 small business owners, as well as delivered over 1,000 seminars and workshops to small businesses across the United States. His presentations demonstrate proven business growth and marketing tactics using real-world examples and case studies to help small businesses, authors, and nonprofits expand their activities successfully. He has also helped countless small businesses expand by putting effective, high-quality personnel and systems to utilize people correctly and scale their business. Okay, guys, so please help us welcome our guest today, Barry. Hey, Barry.
Hey.
Super excited to have you on. Like I said before we recorded, I stalked you a little bit, so I'm curious to actually hear it, of course, from you. So how about before anything else, how are you today? How are things? How's 2026 so far for you?
Good. Yeah, things are going. I mean, it's we're almost at the end of January. Well, when we're recording this, we're at the end of January, so it's moving pretty quick.
True.
Yeah. So, but yeah, it's going good. It's going really good. Thanks.
Amazing. So I always love to start from the very beginning. Beginning is a good place to start. So who were you before your business? Like, what was that evolution like to start basically where you started and then getting to the point where you like, hey, I think I have an idea that I want to do?
Yeah. So, well, before my business, I mean, my dad was an entrepreneur. He had a number of different businesses and did very well, employed a lot of people, was very successful with what he did. And so he, kind of, I guess, I ended up getting that from him, I think. He was also big on helping people. So I spent a lot of years in the nonprofit arena, working with various nonprofits. So, and I guess I got that from him too, right? He was very interested in, he was generally pretty kind to people. So he was a good role model overall. And through the years, I basically I didn't do really great in school, but my dad actually helped me with some classes after I graduated that I found that would help me to kind of fix my education a bit. So he was great. He helped me with that. That resulted in a great job at the publishing industry that I worked for a couple years, and then and then probably over a decade working full time in nonprofits in the nonprofit arena. Helping people. And then I kind of graduated into doing my own business with my wife Claire. Where I still worked with the nonprofits, but then started doing my own thing as well. Started with a marketing company, and then from a marketing company we established and grew a virtual assistant agency called Team Builders, and then we grew that even and then we evolved even further. Where now my wife is now a full-time author. She makes multiple 6 figures as an author writing historical romance. And she's great with her books. And so, and very exciting stuff.
Gotcha. That's such an interesting evolution, especially with seeing your dad at the very beginning of this is what an entrepreneur, business owner looks like, and being able to be put into the world where you kind of I think it's very common. I know so many friends of mine who are also kids of entrepreneurs where it's hard to fit in because you've seen parts of the world that most kids don't even really see or understand. So I can see how that also would affect how you see the business. So you mentioned basically three different businesses, I guess: the publishing, the marketing or the branding one, and the virtual assistant one. Which one of the three is still one that you're running?
They're all, well, my wife runs her publishing company. I mean, her
Ah,
Rogue Press, and she publishes her books. And then I run Stampede Branding, which is my marketing company, and teambuilders.agency. So I run those two companies.
gotcha. And big thing I'm curious about, like I think 2 seasons ago now on the podcast, we featured a lot of business owners who had multiple businesses. And how does one turn to the other? Like, what was kind of the start for, I guess, the branding company going into the VA agency? Like, what was that shift over for you?
Yeah, we had a marketing company. We've had one for 20 years now. But in the last decade, we used a lot of remote personnel, virtual assistants, basically, to help us to expand our company. And then we decided, basically, well, that was something that other business people could benefit from as well, if they had remote personnel to help them to, expand different aspects or take over different work within their business that was, burdening them and keep them from expanding, or get work done that they've been meaning to do that would help them with expansion. So both of the things, and so that evolved into us starting a virtual assistant agency.
Gotcha. Yeah, I can imagine. And you mentioned this also before we started recording. Like, you do have staff like here in the Philippines. Where else do you typically hire from?
We have the people for the Philippines, but we also, we have a team in India too for marketing company. So we have those areas primarily.
What was kind of that journey like for you? Like, you started the branding company and then now you have the VA agency. What was kind of what were the aha moments that led you to, okay, now I want to be able to like start this business? Like, different people have said basically this part of the story differently. What was that for you?
Yeah, so I studied a book. I think one of the books that I read was a book that went over what's called the 80-20 principle by a guy named Richard Koch. Well, Richard Koch wrote a book called the 80-20 principle, and then Perry Marshall wrote another book on the subject. But originally, the principle was developed by an Italian. And the concept is that 80% of the work, 80% of the results come from about 20% of your efforts. And so I thought, okay, well, business owners could figure out a couple things that would help them. This is sort of how the virtual assistant agency evolved, or how I saw it helping business owners, is that, they've got 80% of their work that doesn't really produce a lot for them specifically. Well, the stuff that needs to get done, that's still vital and has to get done, they could hand that off to somebody else. They could hand to an assistant who could get it done for them. And then I think that the other thing that an assistant could do is you could look at that 20% of the things that an entrepreneur is doing that really do move things, and an assistant could help them to, take that and augment it in some way, like helping them with appointment setting, or to get into more one-on-one interviews with prospects, whatever it might be, right? That an assistant could help you with. Both of those things are key. Taking things off your plate that's keeping you from doing the primary things, the big things that you should be spending your time on, and then the other side of it, helping you to augment things that are making the business really go, and helping you to augment those by doing the right, basically doing the right stuff.
Gotcha. I remember reading that book. I don't know how long ago now. I remember that I had very colorful hair. So somewhere in my early 20s, I read that book. And I remember that reading like the first couple of pages and like getting like, oh yeah, like I think like, 2 out of the 10 things that I'm doing in a day is probably the things that's moving things forward. And then like that same thought of like starting to delegate and like give things off to other people. And what was been how long has your business been going on so far? The VA one?
And the which one?
The VA agency, basically.
Oh, okay. Probably about currently about 5 years since 2021, actually. So, 2020 we first started. So yeah, so I guess about 6 years now, actually.
What has been kind of your favorite thing about it? Like, I've had my own assistant agency for about the same timeline actually as yours. And what's the thing that still is something that excites you, the thing that you look forward to when you're working on your business?
Well, I mean, I love helping people delegate stuff, helping people to jump in and start to delegate and hand over things that they should, it's rewarding to see them be able to do that and then watch their business benefit from that, because they're able to, maybe work more on their business, on expansion plans or things like that, or other key areas that they should be focusing on. So seeing them delegate things is a big deal.
Very, very true. And what's still something that's not really much of a bottleneck, but just something that you just dread, that you just don't really look forward to as much?
For me personally, a bottleneck, it was my email not that long ago, but we seem to have gotten that under control. I guess the email is usually a big one for people. I can't. I right at the moment, I'm sort of like drawing a blank because I'm so happy about the email being under control.
That was the thing that was basically holding things back. It's always the funny thing of what they call it, like the plumber with the leaky pipe. It's like we teach a lot of these things, like delegate, make sure this is taken care of, but a lot of the time it gets stuck with us because like we've fixed everything else. So I understand. So within your team, within the people that you work with, what was that shift over like for you? And I guess you kind of started a little bit with the team, I can imagine, from like the branding agency to like the virtual assistant agency. I'm curious, like, what was that shift over like for you to form like, okay, now we're kind of starting this, and like, oh, now we have this. What was that like story arc basically for you?
Well, it's nice because now we have like, just about something for everyone. Because I have an ebook, that we could share possibly. It's 249 things that a virtual assistant can do for you. So now it's like there's almost literally anything in an organization that we could help with. With the coming of the VA agency, there was like there literally not very few functions that we couldn't help a person with. So it totally changed what now we're able to offer quite a bit, a lot to people. So that's exciting.
Gotcha. And what's something that's like, I can imagine like in the last 3 years basically, and I've talked to a lot of virtual assistant agency owners, like I'm in multiple like different Facebook groups and chats as well. Like how has AI kind of shifted your team? Like a lot of people are always scared, a lot of people are very excited. I'm on the very excited side of the world, just because I'm a little bit of a nerd. But for you, like what has that shift over been like in the last 3 years for you?
Well, there's some people who are intimidated by it, but they'd like to be able to use it. So if the VA can actually get in there and help them to use it and take advantage of it, that's great. Now you've got, to some degree doubled up on the work that your single VA can do. So it doesn't have to be, so you've got now some, and not everybody is prone to, or it's easy for them to like really face technology and deal with it. But often the assistants that we have no problem. They're interested in learning new technology. So they're interested in learning new things. I find that from the Philippines too, that the Filipinos that I work with are very interested in education in general. They're like, that is a hot button for them. They like to learn. So that's a definite advantage, when it comes to AI, because AI is constantly changing too.
Very, very true. And it's funny because I don't think I've really heard it from that point of view. Like, yeah, education is a big thing in the Philippines because culturally, like it's one of those things where we're taught, like, if you learn more, if you do better, you can keep rising basically within either work or if you're in business. Like I remember my mom had one point like 5 different master degrees because that was kept her going, getting promoted. So I remember that.
That's great. I think that's, that is, well, I think that's true. I mean, the more you learn, the more you know, the better, the more you're able to progress in life. And learning new things, using them, helping others with them, it's a big deal. Education is, should be valued like it is, like it is in the Philippines, should be valued everywhere.
Right, sure. So thank you for pointing it out. Like I said, I never thought of that way. It's always a thing, so it's an outside point of view. Well, for you, like in the last basically 2 decades now, like having businesses, what has been kind of your favorite aha moments when it comes to like just having different businesses at the same time? Your wife is basically someone who also has a business. I can imagine that dynamic of like 2 business owners at the same time within a marriage is also an interesting kind of life path journey to take. So what has been kind of your favorite aha moments in this entrepreneur life?
I think that my wife and I probably, the fact that I was able to help her or encourage her as well to delegate things. She was just actually, she said we talked her into getting a virtual assistant to help her with bookkeeping, right? And so that basically allowed her to write more books. The fact that she was able to get to delegate that task opened her up to be able to write more. So it was pretty amazing, pretty key.
Very, very true. I imagine that shift over of bring to Jesus moment, basically, of like, oh, this is what you've been talking about. And I definitely have to. Now I'm super curious about your wife's books. Like right before we started the podcast, I was reading on my Kindle. I'm like, hi, more people to discover now. And I can imagine, like, what's the thing that's making you excited for the future? Like we talked about AI, we talked about businesses. What's the thing that you're looking forward to in the next like 10, 20 years of being in business?
I guess that I'm looking forward to, I'd like to get really good at delegating sales, so that I can have a team of, a team of people out there selling, presenting our products or what we do on my behalf. That would be huge, And so I look forward to work. I'm working on that now, and there's some success in that area where I'm looking forward to doing more of that for sure. Yeah.
Gotcha. And for yourself, and this is usually my very favorite question to ask on the podcast, is as science, AI, health, everything's always getting better because you're always advancing as human beings. If you were able to create a perfect clone of you, let's say there's 10 berries, 100 berries, 300 berries, I'm not sure how excited your wife would be over like, oh, there's so many versions of my husband now in the world. But for you, like, how would you want to shift or change the world with that many versions of you out in the world?
If I could, I guess basically I'd take a certain percentage of us and I'd stick it back on nonprofit work, helping people with some of the nonprofit work that I do or that I did. I dive into that. That's what I would do with the extra time and attention and ability to get things done. Is like pour it back into that, right? Because one of the things that's kind of interesting is, AI doesn't have ethics right? It doesn't have ethical standards, morals, those type of things, right? It's lacking those things. And so it's the programmers and the people that, that are using the AI that need to have those standards, right? And so one of the programs I work with is a program called The Way to Happiness, and you can find it at The Way to Happiness International, and The Way to Happiness, The Way to Happiness International.org. But it's a character education program. I still work with them today, and it's a program learn. Basically, you get reminded of these moral standards that should be common sense, like take care of yourself, treat others as you want to be treated, support people of goodwill, be worthy of trust, fulfill your obligations, all these different these points of this booklet. Respect the religious beliefs of others. These are all like key things that we need to remind people about, so that because people are going to program AI, they're going to use AI, but AI is not. AI is a big calculator, right? It's like it's really just a calculator is what it is.
Yep.
And it doesn't have a sense of right or wrong, particularly. It's all by itself. It's got to have people investing that into it through programmers or using it in a way that's good. So I think so I think that's what I would do with that extra time, that extra, those extra berries would be kind of working on the nonprofit stuff that I care about and pushing that stuff forward.
I love that. And like, whenever I teach people how to use AI, like I always tell them, like, treat it like a 2-year-old. It knows everything, but you still have to make sure that you're kind of teaching it what is actually right or wrong, and like correcting, and kind of in a funny way, you can also think of it like we're parenting AI, I guess.
Yeah, sort of, and then my first rule of it is don't trust it. Unfortunately,
like you wouldn't really trust a 2-year-old. Yeah,
you could trust. I mean, you can't necessarily trust its outputs. You can't necessarily trust exactly what it's going to do. Say, it makes things up. It does things like that. So so you have to be aware of that, and watch and use, and you have to use your own judgment when you're using it. You just have to.
Very true. And I love that you'll have like the multiple berries around the world, basically just doing more of the good. I know you didn't really dive into that much during this interview. Like, I love that that's the vision that you see. Like, I want these to kind of keep moving forward now, because there's now many of me in the world, and be able to do that. So how can people connect with you? How can people find you? How can even people support you on the nonprofits that you're in, Barry? How can people connect with you?
Well, they can go to the Way to Happiness International.org and sign up for a free course that they have on their website. That would be one thing that they could do. Cool. But then if they need my help or they want to connect with me, they can reach me at Barry@StampedeBranding.com. They can reach out to me there, and I'll definitely respond.
Very, very cool. Thank you so much, Barry, for your time today.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Again, all of Barry's information is going to be found in the description below. Make sure to connect with him on LinkedIn and everywhere else. And if you guys enjoyed this episode, make sure to hit the thumbs up button right there. Comment below any thoughts or any other future guests you guys would like to see on the podcast. And make sure to check out the previous guests that we've had, who have a lot of insight in how to scale yourself. I hope you guys have a fantastic and wonderful day. And with that, small steps matters, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.